Hey Bunny, welcome to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Hanni. If you just came across this video and across this channel, thank you. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you get notified every single time I post a new video. I'm so nervous. Okay, wait, before I introduce the video, if you are always watching these videos and you're not subscribed yet, please do something about that. Let's help the algorithm. Let's help YouTube help promote this video. And all you have to do is hit the subscribe button since you are already watching. Anyways, hit the like button and leave a comment down below, and let's confuse YouTube's algorithm by letting it promote our video, okay? So I am starting a new segment on the channel, which is making me a little bit nervous, but at the same time excited, and I'm hoping that everyone is gonna enjoy these videos because I'll be doing this every single Monday. I really don't even know what I'm gonna be naming this series yet, but at the moment I'm just thinking of naming them Mysterious Marriages. Mysterious Marriage Monday, or like Mysterious Marriages Mondays, something along those lines. Please let me know what I should name this segment on the channel. Is going to be every single Monday. So basically the segments will be inspired by true crime stories, but these ones will be true crime stories about marriages. So basically people that got married to someone, obviously, without knowing who they were actually getting married to. So that's the inspirations for these videos. Really hope you guys are going to enjoy it. And let's get into our first story. So our first story is gonna be Donna Andersen's story. So Donna Andersen is from Atlantic City, she's from Atlantic City, and by the age of 26, she has already started a business. She started her business, which was called Donna Andersen Copyrights. So being 26 and just starting a new business, she wasn't really into socializing as much, or it wasn't as of importance to her to socialize. What was more important to her was to get her business up and running and get her business successful, like any other person should be by the age of 26, right? Anyways, Donna Andersen was successful in her business. Her business was doing well, of course, but then her 40th birthday was approaching and she was still single. So I'm guessing nobody wants to be single by the age of 40. So she decided to go on the internet and look for someone to go on a date with. And you guys, if I'm gonna explain this to you, it's the weirdest thing. Like, obviously back then people did not have the Instagram, the Facebook, and the Tinder, where you would actually see who you are dating, right? So you would find something like an advertisement. So an example would be like, you see how in the Namibian newspaper we have those small tiny sections where people advertise and like rent, looking for a place to rent, and then they describe how the place looks like, those type of advertisements. So that's the kind of advertisement that would be on the internet if you were looking for someone to date. So she went online and she found an intriguing advertisement that caught her eye. So you guys know this advertisement is it's weird. Okay, not weird, it's cute, it's interesting, but like in 2021, like I don't think it's something that I would wanna fall for, like, no. But anyway, so this is what the advertisement read. So it's just something like, I am James Montgomery. Guys, pronunciation is gonna be a problem in this video's name. Don't come for me, but yeah, I'm James Montgomery. I am a 40-year-old, recently divorced. I have a puppy or a dog, and I baby talked. I baby talk to my dog. Like, guys, okay, that's weird. Maybe not. I mean, it's normal to baby talk with your dog. Who doesn't baby talk with their dog. Okay, he said he has a daughter that's all grown and lives on their own. He said he's an Australian that lives in America, or like he's an Australian that has become an American. So he has an American citizenship, but he's originally from Australia. He is a Sean Connery lookalike. If I was to put those two people here side by side, those people don't look anything alike. That would have been a catfish, in my opinion. Y'all can look here. Do these two people here look alike? I don't think so. Okay. And he also said he's in the Hollywood scene of movie production and TV as a writer slash producer. So that's what he described himself as. And so Donna saw this advertisement and she's like, wow, this is interesting. Like, I want to know this man. So, no, I'm kidding. Obviously not in that accent, but like, yeah, she was intrigued. She contacts James, they keep in touch, they start communicating online, obviously, and they eventually arrange to meet in person. So they meet for a dinner, they go out for dinner, and like any other person on a first date, you obviously want to get to know each other, so you're asking each other questions like, what do you do for a living? Guys, is that even okay to ask each other that question on a first date? I think it is, because you need to know who you're getting into bed with, right? No, I'm just kidding. But I think it is important that you ask what this person does for a living. Or okay, I'm getting carried away. So they ask each other, what do you do for a living? Obviously, Donna says she has her own business. She owns a copyright shop, basically. And then James was like, no, I'm unemployed right now. But I have a few business ideas that I've been working on, and one of the business ideas that he wanted to get into was an electronic theme park for adults. Guys, I even tried to Google what electronic theme parks for adults are, but like my imagination went wild when I heard about that electronic theme park for adults. Like I was thinking, we can't say it on YouTube, but I was thinking that way, if you get what I mean. But if you don't, then you're too young. Okay, I'm kidding. And then the other business idea that he had was to start another TV channel in Atlantic City. So Donna was like inspired by this motivated guy that has all these ideas and all these big dreams, and she was like, that's inspiring and convincing. And also the way that James spoke, he just spoke with this energy that you're like, there's no way, like this is not gonna work out, there's no way anything is gonna feel, just by the way he used to speak. So they go on more dates, obviously, and by their fourth date, you guys, like, I think I would think twice also if it was me. But by their fourth date, not by their fourth date, sorry, the fourth day after their first date, yes, fourth day after their first date. That was a tongue twister for me. So James proposes to Donna, and Donna was like,
wait, what? This seems a little bit too early. Like, I've just went on dates with this guy's years, but like our first date was just like 4 days ago.
But James was just this romantic person, and he would always send her love letters. He would always send her, what do you call this? Poetry, yes. And that was just so like intriguing to Donna, and she was like, yes, she said yes to the ring. 4 months later, they got married, and after they got married, James moved in with Donna. So he moved out of his apartment and moved into Donna's place. And let's just say James didn't pay any bills since he was not working, so that meant Donna had to pay all the bills and make sure that they ate and all of that. So everything was basically on Donna. This also included James' business trips, which, by the way, were allowed because James was this business-driven man and he needed to go to every Hollywood event just so that he can hope to run into investors. And yeah, so Donna would always pay for his flights to go to these events. 1 year into their marriage, and Donna just started feeling like, nah, man, nah, this is not working. Like, I'm making good money, but then James is just spending the money just as quick as I am making them. So also the other thing was like she couldn't leave the marriage. Like she was thinking like what kind of a wife would she be if she was to leave her husband just because he was broke or like he didn't make money and his business ideas were just not planning out the way he thought they would. So she was like, okay, I got myself into this, I'm gonna see it through. Okay, so one day James comes to Donna and he's like, you know what? I think you should invest in these businesses, the ones that he's now trying to start up with. And I think it will be a great idea for you. And then Donna, being a business lady, she was like, oh, okay, cool. What is in it for me if I was to invest into this business? And James was like, no, you could own a few shares of the company. And she was like, okay, cool. So she agreed, obviously, because she was like, she thought like, okay, no, it's my husband, he's looking out for me, we're gonna be making money together. Like, so she agreed, and she asked him how much it was, and he said it was $5,000. $5,000 for her was like, oh, okay, cool, it's money I can afford. So she invested the $5,000. Tell me why. A few days later, James comes back to Donna again, and this time he comes back with a brilliant idea, the greatest idea. Like, you know, this was one of those ideas. Like, if I'm to tell you this right now, you would also most definitely agree to get into this deal. So the brilliant business idea, not business idea, but the brilliant idea that James came up with. So what happened is that during that time, slot machines were becoming legalized on the ocean piers of Atlantic City, and James thought of the central pier option and was like, we could buy that, and anybody else who wanted to have slot machines there would then have to go through them, they would have to buy it from them. And Donna was like, wait, what? That's interesting, like that's fun. So yes, it was true that the central piers, the slot machines were becoming legalized on the central pier. That was not a lie. So that's why Donna fell for it, and she asked him,
like, okay, no, so how much money will I have to invest in this business idea?
So James goes like,
no, $200,000.
and Donna's like,
well, I don't have that kind of money. Like, I don't have $200,000.
and then James is like, okay.
Well, how much do you have?
And then Donna is like, no, I only have $100,000. And okay, guys, also I might be saying thousand instead of thousand, which is the correct. I'm Herrero, you know the accent. There's that accent, thousand. I think it's thousand. Don't come for me, okay? It's been a struggle. I know that one. That's gonna be every time I have to pronounce the thousands. I think it might come out as thousand. Just don't laugh at me, okay? No. Okay, in all seriousness now. So Donna agrees to give James $10,000 instead of the $20,000, and James was like, okay, no, you'll find the $20,000 from somewhere else. Time goes by, and as usual, nothing came from this. It's just the usual of James. And one day, while Donna is just in the house, she's like looking for a pen because she wanted to note down a phone number. She goes into the office and she enters James' office drawer, and at this time James was out on business, on one of his other business trips, and she finds Polaroid pictures of other women naked, and she was like, wait, what's going on? Like, why does my husband have Polaroid pictures of other women naked? So she waits for James to get back home, and when he gets back home, she confronts him. She's like,
yeah, what is this? Like, why do you have this?
no, I'm just trying to be extra here. And James just said like,
no, it's just pictures from my past. I only keep them for all time's sakes.
like, what? You keep pictures of naked women for all time's sakes? Like, this is, wow, now obviously women that you were dating, like, I swear, if there are men out there that do this while you are married, You know to do better. Please delete those pictures. Why do you still have them? So obviously these ones are Polaroid pictures, so he needed to ban them, not keep them, James. But obviously Donna didn't have another option. Like who else is she going to believe now? The guy is telling him that no, it's just all pictures that I'm keeping. So like, I mean, she can't argue with the source if the source is saying one thing. So she decided to believe her husband's story and just go on with it. They get into their second year of marriage and things just started getting difficult for them. There was not, I mean, she was broke, like she was broke. She had a lot of credit card debt, close to $50,000 in debt on credit cards, and things were becoming tough, okay? So, and she was also getting depressed and emotional, and it was just not a right time for her during that time. Who wouldn't be depressed? Imagine supporting this husband of yours who's just broke, no money, nothing, and even though your business is doing well, you're just forever broke because you're spending all this money on your husband. Please don't do that. I think it's in 2021 now, women are smarter and women are not getting married to men like that. But like, obviously this was like before 2021, so the situation was a little bit different. And obviously back then people were being judged a lot for getting divorced. So people would rather stay in marriages that they are not happy because they are afraid to be judged. So this was just a whole other story. Anyways, 2 years into their marriage, still broke, still no job for James. And one day while they are driving, while Donna is driving James to the airport, she thought like, okay, what if I just decided to pawn some of my rings to go buy groceries? Obviously she didn't tell this to James. She didn't tell James this, so she just asked James where their rings are, like where some of her rings are, because she couldn't find them in the house. And James was like, no, they are in a locked box inside my office drawer. And Donna was like, oh, okay, cool. So when she got home, the first thing she did was obviously go to the drawer and get her rings so that she can go sell them and buy groceries. Guys, it got to that level. So she goes into the drawer, she finds the key, she finds the box, and she opens the box. What you found inside this box is something no wife ever wants to find. Even if you are a girlfriend, you don't want to find this. But it was just one of those things, like you don't want to ever come across something like that. So what did Donna find in the box? Donna opens the box and she finds letters upon letters, messages between James and other women. And it was not just one woman, it was half a dozen women plus minus. Like it was at least 20 women or 12 women, just letters in this box. And this is worse than finding letters, you guys. What she found next is worse than finding letters. So she sees a picture of James with an infant, like a baby, and she's like, wait, what? And James is happy in this picture, and he's just a proud, happy papa of a baby girl.
I mean, James, didn't you say you haven't grown up, child? And haven't we been married for 2 years? Like, how come you have a baby? And
it was a recent picture of him as well. So she was like, nah, this can't be it. Like, no woman ever wants to say that. And guess what else was in the box? The birth certificate. Literally every single proof that Donna needed that this man is cheating on her was in there, to the degree of how many other women he's cheating with, that he has a child, and that he is the father of the child. There was a full birth certificate, indicating that James is the father of the child. And the first thing that came to Donna's mind was not,
oh hell no, I've been betrayed, I need to stay with this man.
No, the first thing that came to her mind was like, thank God now I get to leave this relationship. Like, not like she needed an excuse to leave the relationship, but like she had the perfect excuse to leave the relationship. So She waited 2 days. James was obviously out on his business trips as usual. So she waited 2 days for James to waited 2 days, calls James, and she tells James, like, you know what, James, it's over, don't come back here. We're done. We're getting a divorce. And James was like,
please don't leave me, please don't do this to me, please. I love you, you know that I love you, like don't do this to me.
I'm just being extra. But Donna was like, no, it's over. We're done. 10 days later, Donna has now already started calling these different ladies that James has been married to or that James is having an affair with. And then 10 days later, she calls one of the ladies who's the best friend of another lady that is getting married to James. So obviously, Donna didn't have anything to charge James with first. Like, James had not broken any law until then, and there wasn't really much that Donna could do besides divorce him. And so when she found out that James was actually getting married to another woman 10 days, let's say this again, 10 days after she told him we are getting a divorce, James was getting married to another woman. Can I even be clearer than that? So, Donna decides, well, this guy just broke a law. Because it's illegal to get married while you're married to someone else. But guess what? She found out. That wasn't the first time James broke this law. The woman that James was married to, that when James got married to the woman before Donna, he was already married to another woman. So James was married when he got married to the woman before Donna, and now he's with Donna and he's getting married to another woman before he gets a divorce with Donna. So James has just broken the law twice. And Donna was like,
huh? Yeah, I'm taking this man to court and I'm going to sue him for all my money.
So she takes him to court, and part of the divorce settlement was that she would get back the $5,000 that she invested in in his business, as well as the $100,000, as well as the money that she paid into rent, groceries, all of those things, his flight tickets. She would get back that money, as well as another $1 million on top of that. But as we all know, James was broke. James didn't have any money. That's why he basically lived off of Donna. So Donna wasn't gonna get this $1 million plus all the other money that James owed him. So the only money that Donna ever got from James was basically $571, which is the only money James had to his name. You would think this is the end of the story, right? No, it's not the end of the story. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet, and hit the like button because you're already enjoying the video, and that's why you got this far in the video. Let's continue. So what happened is that a few years, like a year later, Donna is on not social media, but she's on the internet, and she's just curious like any human would be, and she decided to type in James Montgomery. And guess what comes up? So in this Google search, there comes up an article that's written, James Montgomery, new man at the hills. So this meant that James had a job, and James was in Australia, and he had a job at the radio station at the Hills University. And Donna was like, oh hey, yeah, I can get my money now. So James had moved back to Australia now.
So she's like, okay, I can get back my money.
You know? But yeah, she goes and hires an Australian lawyer to save James her suit, like her lawsuit. Now what ended up happening is that James had already declared himself bankruptcy. So that meant that he didn't have money to pay Donna, and Donna was like, okay, cool, you know what, there's better revenge than getting money from this man. That seems like I'm never gonna get money from this man, so here's the better revenge option. So what she did is that she got in touch with news outlets and she shared her story with different news outlets in Australia. And what this news outlets basically did is exposed James to the world, and he was all over the news for his story and his scandals, and he lost his job because of this. And what better revenge than that? So Donna never really ever got her money back, but she felt that embarrassing James in the public's eye was the best revenge she could have ever gotten from the situation, and there was no way James was gonna be able to do this to other women. And if it was a cycle that he continued with while he was in Australia, he had exposed him, and those other women would have known. So she felt like that was the best revenge she could have ever given James. Guys, that is the end of this story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want me to do more of these stories, please leave a comment down below and let me know, and I will do more of these stories. Thank you for tuning in. If you stayed until the end, hit the subscribe button and like the video. If you didn't like it, leave a comment down below about what you think regarding Donna's story. I love you guys so much. See you in my next video.